My dear brothers and sisters, my dear children, I began once again to congratulate the Muslim Ummah for the blessings and the barakat that were sent to us by liberating one of the most precious parts of the Muslim Ummah from a tyrant regime that have dictated their life for an extended period of time. And we pray to Allah Azza wa Jalla the Mighty that He will be concluding this victory that joy and brought happiness to the entire Ummah will conclude it with, inshallah, a new chapter in the life of this Ummah that will be, inshallah, contributing to the advancement of the whole nation of the Ummah of Islam. And as we are celebrating and happy and enjoying the joy of the Syrian people for their liberation, we're still grieving and we're still wondering when and how the changes will happen in the people, for the people of Gaza. And we're still trying and hoping that the international community somehow would be waking up and once again coming back to its conscience, trying to understand that what is happening in Gaza, what is happening to the people in Palestine is not only an issue related to the Palestinian people. It is an issue that is impacting and affecting the entire Ummah of Islam, because after all, Allah Azza wa Jal have placed a special value for the land of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa and to the entire region, Bilad al-Sham, as the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam indicated, Tuba, a glad tidings to Bilad al-Sham, tilka malaikatu ar-Rahman basitatu ajnihataha ala Bilad al-Sham. Indeed, the angels of Allah Azza wa Jalla are expanding their wings to shower Bilad al-Sham with the barakat and rahmat. And after all, this is where the many ahadith about the big battle, al-Malhamat al-Kubra, will be taking place. So we're not surprised that once again Dimashq, this capital of Islam that has been through extended period of time throughout the history of Islam, is coming back again to the boundaries of the deen of Allah Azza wa Jalla. As I said, we're hoping that what is happening in Palestine will not be forgotten, because as we wake up every day, we continue to hear about a massacre happening here and there, about a massacre happening as a result of bombarding a United Nations safe zone buildings, about bombarding schools where people are supposed to be seeking refuge in. And we continue to see people dying and people killed, but unfortunately with minimal reaction from the international community. I wonder when and what it takes for the international community leadership to start taking actions, real actions, to stop the continuous killing in the people of Palestine, to stop the cleansing, the genocidal war that was declared as a genocidal war by the International Justice Court, and when, if there is any, something will be happening. We continue to see a systematic pattern from the Israeli forces, not only to destroy the infrastructure of the country, but at the same time to deliberately crush and kill the spirit in the minds and the hearts of the people of Gaza. They are deliberately trying to abort any possibility for the people of Gaza to be able to stand once again on their own feet. We know for a fact that the people of Gaza were living under siege for 17 years before this unjust and brutal war had started. And as a result of this continuous siege on the land of the people of Gaza, they continued to live with hope. They never gave up the hope, and they worked very hard with the limited resources they have within their means. And as a result of that, this small geographical area, this limited resource city or stride on the map, was able to eliminate the illiteracy in Gaza and make the literacy rate to 97%, which is the highest literacy percentage in the Arab world after Qatar, which is a country that has a lot of resources and a lot of wealth dedicated to the education system. We see how this unjust war have deliberately targeted universities, have deliberately targeted hospitals, schools, have deliberately targeted even masajid, mosques, because after the schools were destroyed, after the universities were destroyed, the people of Gaza turned to the masajid, turned to whatever facilities they're able to seek refuge in, and to continue the process of education and give the hope and plant the resilience in the minds and the hearts of the children of Gaza. Despite of how brutal this war is, we have seen and heard of how the children, how the youngsters, how the general population in Gaza were equipped not only with resilience, but with the hope from Allah Azza wa Jal, which is stemming from the Quran that they have in their hearts. One of the highest percentage of Huffaz was known to be in Gaza. And these are the Huffaz who have inspired the whole world, who is seeing them still standing firm and rooted in their own land and saying, we will never leave our land and live another Nakba. We did not forget what happened in 1948 and will continue to stand despite of the collaboration of the whole world against us, despite of the passive stand that unfortunately the Muslim Ummah is taking towards the people of Gaza. What does it take from the armies of the Muslim Ummah to say that we will be sending medical aid to the children of Gaza? What does it take from the Muslim armies to say that we will be forcing the flow of the food to the northern parts of Gaza, who are being subjugated to the deprivation of food and water, to crush their spirit, and their spirit is still up and uncrushed? It does not take much. All it requires from them is a will and determination. What struck me as I'm seeing and following up with what is happening in Gaza is the latest news that many of you have heard about. There were two young women from Gaza, Sally and Dalia, who were accepted by the University of Waterloo prestigious student fellowship. And they were awarded with that prestigious fellowship for their PhD, for their outstanding academic achievement. And we're talking about two young women who have achieved their education throughout the siege in Gaza. Despite the difficulties and challenges, they have determined to excel. And they were able to excel in their academic achievement. And as the university said, they were selected and they were honored this fellowship because of their academic as outstanding achievement and the potential for them of research. These two youngsters, these two young women who felt a hope is coming to their life. They felt that finally someone is paying attention to our suffering. Finally, someone is about to recognize that there are people in Gaza who, despite of the challenges and the difficulties, their spirit was not pent. Their determination was not crushed, and their spirit is still up and they want to continue. Again, as it is the habit for the offensive Israeli forces, they bombarded civilian areas where these two young women were in Rafah, as they were hoping to be able to make it through the Egyptian borders, to be able to make it out of the war zone, to be able to make it to their potential and future university, where they were hoping to be able to pursue their PhD degree. And they were killed, as there are many, unfortunately, being killed on a daily basis, which resulted in the university faculty feeling the sorrow and the pain for the loss of such a potential, not only for the people of Gaza, but for humanity. What is sad and what is tragic is not only we continuously seeing killing for innocent civilians, deliberately targeting minds and souls and spirits, and trying to end their missions, is the ugly response to international community leadership. And the uglier response of the media. I have deliberately tried to read the news in different media outlets. The best media outlet was even shy from talking about this as a crime that the one who did it needs to be held accountable for it. And they would be using a conflict between two sides. Are you blind? Are you deaf? Are you idiot? Who do you think you can fool? Are you fooling us as civilians, as human beings with intelligence? Enough is enough. Enough is enough to fool people and distort facts. We need to continue to make our voice heard, whether to this, ugly media machine that's deliberately feeding lies into people's minds, or whether to our own government officials. As we're speaking right now, the Apaches, the fire jets, continue to raid Palestinians and Muslims across the region. And these jets and Apaches would not be able to make their mission possible without the parts that come from different Canadian companies. So we're deliberately supporting the killing war machine by the Israeli forces. We say to our officials of the government, enough fooling yourselves, because you cannot fool us. Enough being people without principle and moral values. Stand up for what you believe. One day you will recognize that you have said something that would align with the human principle and moral values. For Allah's sake, after all, you're supposed to be representing us, and you have failed us and failed Canada for not being able to represent Canada as a peace broker as it has been internationally known. For us, we will say to the people of Gaza, you're not forgotten. Wallahi, you are not forgotten. Wallahi, you are still in our hearts and our minds. And Allah Almighty knows how much dua goes from our hearts in the darkness of the night for you. And we vow for you that we will continue to combat in a civil manner the battle that we have taken about ourselves to fight in this part of the world through advocacy work, through combating with ugly media tools and through communicating with our officials and say to them, enough is enough. You need to do something to stand for us as Canadians. وأقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم واستغفروه فإنه الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا وسيئات اعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. If I may ask you to come forward as much as possible because it looks like it's still packed. So shall I come forward if you see a spot in front of you. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك اللهم على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم يا رب السماوات والأرض ورب العرش العظيم اللهم ندعوك وأنت الرحمن الرحيم. ندعوك في هذا اليوم المبارك وندعوك في هذا البيت من بيوتك وندعوك في هذه الساعة المباركة يا رب بأن تفرج هم وغم وكرب المكروبين في الأرض يا رب العالمين. اللهم نسألك برحمتك بأن تتمم لنا الفتح في سوريا. اللهم أقر أعيننا بتطبيق شرعك يا رب العالمين. اللهم وفقنا لنصر دينك يا رب العالمين. اللهم استهدنا ولا تستبدل بنا يا رحمن الراحمين. اللهم إن لنا إخوانا في غزة وفي ضفة لا حول لهم ولا قوة إلا بك يا رب العالمين. اللهم اربط على قلوبهم. اللهم افرغ على قلوبهم صبرا. اللهم ثبت أقدامهم وانصرهم على القوم الكافرين. اللهم نسألك بجلالك بأن تقر أعيننا بالصلاة في المسجد الأقصى آمنين مطمئنين فإنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم يا رب السماوات والأرض ورب العرش العظيم نسألك بأن تستخدمنا ولا تستبدل بنا. اللهم خذ بنواصينا إليك يا رب العالمين. اللهم نسألك بأن ترحم المسلمين في مشارق الأرض ومغاربها يا رب العالمين. اللهم تقبل قتلانا الشهداء. اللهم واشف مرضانا. اللهم فك أسرانا. اللهم نسألك بجلالك ورحمتك بأن تقر أعين المكلومين وترد الأبناء إلى الأمهات والأزواج إلى أزواجهم فإنك على كل شيء قدير. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.